Well, welcome to our next coaching session. How are you? How are things been?
Things are good. I mentioned, that one prospective client didn't get back to me, but I actually have another discovery call lined up with somebody else. So who knows?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Very good. How did you negotiate that? How did you find it?
I don't know what happened. So I also, in addition to posting the ad, I have just been active in different Facebook groups for learners, answering questions, offering tips and advice. And in response to that, this person who is not a target student at all reached out to me. I just sort of tried to explain also that, I'm running a business here. This wouldn't be free help. But he was like, yeah, I want to talk to you. How would we do that? He started talking about platforms, and I said, Skype or Zoom, that's fine, whichever you want.
Mm,
But here, you can sign up for a discovery call here, and he did.
okay, super, perfect. And I mean, I'm sure, after the other day, obviously you had that first one which fell through,
Mm.
but that's the nature of this type of thing, isn't it? And you will learn that along the way. I certainly did. Is that the you might it might happen that you have a discovery call in place and then it just doesn't materialize into anything and they don't get back to you, but that's okay because you've got someone else that how many days after, I mean, we last spoke, I suppose 4 or 5 days ago now,
Yeah, yeah,
and since then another opportunity has come by.
yeah.
So that's super. Okay, perfect. um Um, so what I think is best for us to do today is focus on this discovery call. Okay. So what we can do is look at the strategies that you can use when you have this call with him. Okay. So you mentioned previously, for my listeners, by the way, do you want to just say whereabouts you are living and how long you've been a teacher, by the way?
So I'm from the U.S. state of California, and I had been a tutor online and off for many years, but doing ESL tutoring specifically on the Italki platform, that's been 2 years and 8 months, and I'm transitioning off of that, and that will be by the end of the year,
Perfect. Brilliant,
which
girl.
is 2 weeks from now. But anyway.
No, but it's exactly like that. There's a lot of teachers exactly in that position where you think they're using a company and you want to transition away from that because you can earn more as an independent teacher. You have way more freedom and you can do things your way, you know. Um, so you mentioned that this prospective client, he wasn't exactly in your niche. Is he how what because he was, I remember we speaking about women and men last time. Because he's male, is he still a Russian speaking? No.
Nope.
Where is he?
I I literally don't. I mean, I don't specifically know. He didn't specifically tell me, but I've also been attracting a couple of like Pakistani men,
Mhm.
uh, just from activity in these general groups. So we'll just see what comes of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I remember you probably watched in the course as well. That, and I did this at the beginning as well. It's okay to test the waters. You can have your niche, and you've got a great niche defined. But at the beginning, when you are going solo, you want to find your students, it's absolutely fine to test the waters. Because, for example, I know you tested the waters a little bit with men and you had the impression that you would prefer mainly with women within your niche. But it takes to try to know the answer. You can't really assume. Do you know? Um, okay, so what we can do, have you got pen and paper?
Hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll look at this discovery call and how you can approach it. Okay. Um, so what are you thinking in terms of how you might approach this phone call? for video call?
I need basic details. What is his goal? He said he was a student, but so asking a bit more about what he's studying, what his career goals are, where he sees himself needing to use English.
Okay, super. So when those are all great ideas. When we look at this phone call, okay, the first thing, and I know you know this from the course, but one thing that is so important is, and a lot of teachers make this mistake at the beginning, thinking that they need to impress the other person, this prospective student, and teach them English or, show off their teaching style. And this is where teachers fall down, because this is actually an opportunity for you and this person to build a relationship. And then they come off the phone call, or the video call rather, and they think to themselves, is this someone I could see as my teacher? That's what you really want, is that they come to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, this sounds good. So I'm going to just share my screen with a whiteboard. Okay, perfect. So can you see my screen?
No.
Can you see it? Can you see it? It should just be a white blank.
Now, yeah.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so when we've obviously got this discovery call. So the first main thing that you want to be doing is building a relationship with him. Okay? So at the beginning, the first few minutes, it is so important. This is where you start to build that reputation. This is where you start to give that first impression. So the first few minutes, just ask a few different types of questions. My advice here would be nothing too intimidating, okay? So when you speak about his level of English and the goals he wants to achieve, you're completely right to speak about that. But in general, sometimes they don't know the answer themselves in terms of what they want to achieve. They just know they want to get better. So they might close down a little bit if that intimidates them. So judge the situation, okay? But you can start, I think we spoke about previously in the last coaching session, some great questions for primarily your niche, being expats or living in different countries. Of course, this is a slightly different one, but that's okay. When you're building a relationship here, even generic questions start off, whereabouts are you living? What are you doing for a job? Why are you wanting to improve in English? Okay? Get him opening up. Then, this is something that is so important. The second thing you want to do is discover his pains, the pain points. So what do I mean here? For example, whenever we make a decision, it's based primarily on two things, pain and desire. For example, if you wanted to lose weight, the pain, the reason you might act is because you can't run as fast as your kids, or you haven't got as good health as you'd like, or you lack confidence. These would be pains. Desires might be that you want to look really good in a dress, for example, okay? So these are two things that encourage someone to basically act. So in our case, purchase our classes, right? So we are primarily, just by human nature, we're primarily motivated by the pains. Desires too, but it's the pains that encourage us to act. So for you, what you can do in this section here for the pains is ask him what problems is he having at the moment. I recommend giving him some ideas. Is it speaking with confidence? Are you struggling with pronunciation? Do you block yourself when you try to speak? Whatever it might be, but give a couple of examples to help him out.
Sure.
When you push this pain, it encourages him to think about the problem and that he really wants to achieve a good level of English, okay? So, of course, build a relationship and then that pain point. What do you think of a question that you could ask in terms of the pain, the problems?
Well, what difficulties are you having? Maybe go into skills. Say, do you think your reading in English is better than your speaking, or maybe something like that?
Yeah, totally. Other things that you could speak about in terms of pain is always to do with how we feel, okay? For example, do you doubt yourself when you speak in English? Do you feel embarrassed? Okay, are you scared to speak in English? Because I know I speak some Spanish, but if someone asked me these questions, I'd probably think, yeah, sometimes I do feel a bit embarrassed that I sound very English when I'm speaking Spanish. Get him opening up, okay? So we spoke, build the relationship, pain. What do you predict will be the third point? I've already mentioned it a little bit.
Desires.
Perfect. Desires. So, general rule of thumb is kind of like pain is like 60% that motivates someone, 40% desire. So, spend a little more time on like the problems he's having at the moment and then move to the desires. So, of course, this is something that's really important. The desires do depend on the pain. So we can't make these questions now because we don't know what his problems are. But for example, the desires, if the pain and the problem is that he needs to pass an exam to study in a different country, for example, the desire, once we know that, the desire is obviously to live in a foreign country, living a different cultural experience, right? So obviously really listen to the pains. So desires, what type of questions could we ask here?
What do you want to be able to do with English?
Perfect.
What do you want to achieve? Like, do you want to achieve a certain maybe exam score, or how will you use English?
Perfect. Yeah. These questions that are about the desire, what my advice would be is just to listen to the conversation before to get ideas, clues about what he might desire. Okay? Perfect. So we're up to here. Now, the next thing, we've established a connection, we've established a relationship up until this point. So the fourth thing you want to do here is you want to be the one with the solution. Okay? You want to show up and say, look, based on what you've said to me, I know I'm going to be a really ideal teacher for you. I know I can help you with these problems because he's already told you the problems. Then you can say those problems again. For example, I can help you achieve a higher level of reading, or so that you become more confident speaking in English. Whatever it might be, this is the moment now where you repeat what he said above. Okay? That's super important. Then the fifth one. So this is something that I say all the time to teachers, and I mention it in the course as well. The fifth one is obviously where you give the offer and you sell your classes, determining pricing, etc. What I would say, if 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been done well, 5 will become very easy and natural, that you naturally progress on to talking about the offer. Okay? if you rush the first ones, this is going to be really difficult because you haven't done the first ones properly. You don't really know him. And then suddenly you're talking about money and how much it will cost, etc. You know? So it's really worth investing your time up here before you get down to the offer. Okay? What I would say is don't rush it, because he might ask, I get it, I get asked it when I do a discovery call. I know other teachers ask it and say, Neve, what do I do in this situation? They might ask you at the beginning, how much do you charge? Don't answer it. Not because you want to not say the price or anything like that. It's because you haven't built a relationship to then say how much you're going to be charging. Okay? What the perfect answer is look, we'll get onto that. But first, I need to understand your situation and how I can help you. So if you don't mind, I've got a few questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just have to really focus on that phrasing because it's felt evasive up till now. I know that I need to avoid engaging with that right off the bat, but how do I make that transition? What do I say so that it doesn't sound evasive?
To the question, or from point 4 to 5?
To that initial question of how much does it cost, getting that right off the bat.
Yeah, completely. And it's difficult, especially on the first times when they say, and you think, oh, I need to tell them how much. But you can say it in a really nice way, very gently. Look, don't worry. I will explain exactly my what I offer, how much, okay? But first, let's just see if I can help you, okay? Then you're not perceived as that you're going to be selling something. You're just having a conversation, okay? The key is here just to say it really gently. Really, let's just have a chat. I just want to see how I can help you and what level you're at the moment. Oh, okay, yeah, that's okay. And then the conversation continue. And at this point, he, or in your case, with this discovery call, but the person knows, oh, she's serious, okay? We're having a serious conversation here. You're suddenly the boss and in control of the situation, and it's not the opposite way around. Okay? But of course, it all comes down to like your tone and how you speak and the expression that you use, Super. Okay. So yes, this is the strategy that you want to follow in the next few, well, of course, the first discovery call, this coming one, and then moving forward, Okay, so now we mentioned, yes, the offer. The last thing I'll say regarding this is, yes, I mean, of course, you've got these points. The offer, if you do, I can't stress this enough, if you do the top bit really well, the bottom bit will become so much easier because suddenly you're speaking on quite a friendly basis with this person. But if you rush those first few things because you think, I need to speak about the offer, that's the only thing they're interested in, it's not. If you've built a relationship and got that common ground about something, well, then you're okay. Because at this point, they've probably already chosen that she's the teacher for me. Okay, perfect. So something else, I'm just going to clear this and come back here. Okay, can you see me now?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously you have watched my full course. You've watched it in detail, I know. And we've had our coaching together. So I wanted to just ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind, explaining your experience so far up until now. So I had a question. Of course, you invested in my online marketing for ESL teachers course. You have watched it all. We've had our strategy sessions together. Who would you recommend this course to? Would it be to teachers previously with a company, teachers looking to go solo by themselves straight off the bat? What type of people would you think?
I would specifically recommend it to people who have experience with a company, or just like in my case with the marketplace like Italki, because that experience has let them have some market research. They know which student population or which type of teaching they would prefer to do. They've got an idea of their target audience.
Yeah, definitely. And just for listeners, you were saying before that you are, oh, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, the signal's gone a moment. Hello? Hello? Hello, we're back.
Okay,
I'm not sure what happened there.
that was my bad connection.
That's okay. Don't worry. Okay, super. So another question I had for you is why, obviously you've used this course to transition from a company to finding your niche and going solo. Why would you recommend my course to other teachers to find new students? What would be the reason?
Going into detail, as again you just did here, into this process, I wanted a specific process that I could use to start engaging independently, because I don't have any marketing background or experience, and I'm coming from an experience where students just came to me, a steady stream of them. So I wanted to be able to have a strategy.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel the course gave you that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, super. And I mean, you're certainly not alone in thinking that at the beginning, because so many teachers come from a company where the students are given to them, but of course it's at the detriment of lower pay, very strict rules with some companies. um, and sometimes that is that thought of, right, how do I find my students now? You know? Um, and I think something, I mean, do give your opinion on this, is that what can seem daunting at the beginning, but through the information in the course, suddenly, well, I know from some other teachers that it doesn't seem so daunting maybe now for you.
Right. Yeah, things become manageable when you have a method, when you know how you should proceed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely. Okay. And can you give me just, I mean, I know obviously you've invested in my course. We've also had our coaching sessions together, which we've spoken about, well, your specific strategy moving forwards. Would you recommend, or how has been your experience integrating the course and the coaching together?
Very good. So I just have specifically understood how to apply the techniques in the course to my specific target audience, and the specific difficulties that I've had getting started.
Yeah, completely. Okay, well, thank you. That's great to know. I mean, you have been a very great, well, I say student of mine, but you're not a student, you're a teacher, but you've been a teacher of the online marketing course. And I can see, that you have made that I mean, you've invested in the course because I think you understood from the beginning that this is something that, in terms of the marketing, I mean, you can find little ideas online, right? But there's no actual method out there to show you the way and like break it down step by step, But I'm very proud of the way you've applied the information and you've committed yourself to this.
Yeah. I mean, figuring it out, and just, continuing to plug away at it.
And it takes time, doesn't it? It's not something that can happen overnight. I think you know that. With a little commitment and following the process, you've already got another discovery call lined up. That's another step further away from transitioning from the company to going independent, right? Yeah, perfect. Okay, do you have any final questions you wanted to ask me before?
What if yes, I follow these steps in the discovery call. And I know you talk in the course about sort of a mini offer, I guess I could say that I could offer that, doing 4 lessons maybe instead of 8, right, in a package. What if I really follow the steps and I really have this relationship built, but I've still got somebody who's price sensitive? Should I let them go at the end of a call?
Okay, great question. Yeah, so the first thing, this is why it's so important to make that offer, because it already overcomes some objection about money, because they already know that they're already getting some form of offer. Okay, so first of all, make it really clear that this would have been the price and this is what you would be getting it for, because naturally, subconsciously, that will overcome somewhat of an objection. Yeah. It always depends on where they come in at, okay? And obviously your price point and whether it's, for example, once a week for a month or twice a week, is it an hour? All of that depends. But what I would say is that when you want to buy something or you want to invest in something, we have this saying in marketing that money is never the objection, okay? Which means that if you really want something, you can buy it, you can purchase it, you can invest in it. So if someone gives you that objection, what they're really saying is you haven't convinced me enough, okay? So you might want to delve in a little more regarding the value that they can get from classes with you, okay? But don't be tempted to lower even more your price, because you've already given an offer and you don't want to be perceived as desperate for them, okay? And this is reverse psychology. So if you say no, this is the price point. Sometimes when you say no, they want it more. Okay. Obviously, if we're looking at, it's a different ball game. If we're looking at someone who is wanting a much lower price than what you're saying, then in that case they just are the wrong client. They haven't got that vision of investing in themselves. You know, someone that comes along and wanting classes for $5 an hour, you know?
Mm, mhm,
If you get someone like this, they
mhm,
would never be your student anyway. Okay? But if you get someone who you perceive understands the value and they come back with a price objection, understand that it's mainly because you haven't convinced them enough of the value of the class, if that helps.
mhm, mhm.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
That would be what I'd say there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about, because this potential student with the discovery call is coming from his particular background. I've gotten price objections from students of his background. So
Okay. But do you know, it's so great that you've already thought of that now,
mm,
that it's not a surprise in the discovery call.
mhm,
Because one of the best things, I'm glad you said this to me, because I can tell you this information now. One of the best things you can do to overcome this is overcome the objection about money earlier on in the phone call. So don't talk about the cost of the classes, but say how investing in English classes is so worthwhile because relating to the problem on pain that he said, because then you can really improve your level of English and you overcome the objection before he talks about it, if that makes sense.
right. You're talking about value earlier in the call.
Yeah,
Okay.
use it to
Sure.
your
Sure.
advantage. Okay.
Okay.
And one other thing I would say, I meant to say earlier, um, in those phone calls, have the proportion of who's speaking more, him speaking more.
Yeah.
Okay, more questions to him, 60-40 probably, or 70-30, something like that.
Mm,
The more he can speak, the better, really.
mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just gotten used to that from my Italki experience, so
Mhm.
that's pretty normal for me.
Perfect. Okay, well, I hope this has been useful today. Um,
Absolutely.
Let me know how the discovery call goes and how things are
Mhm.
with that. Do you know which day you've got it? Is it scheduled?
Yes. Excuse me. Let's see here. Uh, so it's Sunday morning in my time zone.
Okay, perfect. Well, do let me know how it goes.
Hmm.
And yeah, best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. I'll see you soon. Bye
Thanks. This has
bye.
been helpful.
Yeah,
Bye
no
bye.
worries. Bye bye.